episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of sewing and knitting, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. How are you? I can't believe it's been 2 weeks already. In fact, it hasn't been because I am recording this on a Friday because I've got all kinds of things to do coming up next week, which I will talk about later. So I'm recording this a little bit early. I do have some things to talk about, some things to show you, but first one important announcement and one very exciting thing that is coming up in the next couple of months. First of all, we are still running the Love Yourselfcal, which stands for Crochet Along, in my Ravelry group, which is the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast group on Ravelry. As well as Instagram, you can use the hashtag loveyourselfcal. And the only rule to join this cal is that it has to be for you. Whatever you are making has to be for you. And I talked at length about this in the last episode. So if you missed that episode, go check it out, especially at the end, because I really talk about the importance of valuing yourself and making beautiful things to make yourself happy and that you deserve. So that is going until the end of June. So we still have a few weeks left. There will be prizes, which I will talk about later as well. I have some things to show you. And it's super easy to join. All you have to do is make something for yourself. You can crochet it, you can knit it, you can sew it, you could embroider or weave or spin or anything. It just has to be entirely for you, not a gift for someone else and not a commission. The second very exciting thing that I have to tell you is that at the beginning of August, I am going to Vegas. So it's my husband and I's 7-year anniversary. We'll be married for 7 years on July 31st, which is super exciting. Maybe now all those bitter people who don't like marriage or have been through stuff will stop saying that the honeymoon phase is gonna wear off, because oh my word, people are so upset when people are happy together. Now, I completely understand that sometimes life punches you in the face and you just have situations and love did not work out for you. However, I cannot even tell you how many times we have heard, oh, you guys are just in your honeymoon phase. You won't continue to like each other. Just wait. Like when we were married for a year, they were like, just wait until 2 years. And then 2 years, they were like, just wait till 3 years. And then 5 years passed and they were like, well, it'll be 7 years and you guys will start to hate each other. Hopefully we don't start to hate each other, because that would entirely defeat the purpose of being married. Anyways, that was a ramble. I'm sorry. I don't have any show notes, or I just kind of have a pile of stuff on the table because I have been running around like a crazy person today. So we'll see. We'll see how seamless this episode is. So we are going to Vegas at the beginning of August for just a weekend, my husband and I, and then he's gonna go home because he has to go back to work, and I have a few extra days off. So this is the really, really, really exciting part. I am going to be meeting up with Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast and potentially a few other podcasters or yarn lovers, and we are going to spend Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday together. And I did not write down the exact dates. They're on my phone, which I'm recording on, so I can't stop. But it's the second week in August. It's gonna be that second weekend. And we're trying to arrange like a knit night potentially, or a crochet night at Sin City Knits, which is a yarn store that Claudia knows. And oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. First of all, to get to meet Claudia, because without her, I would never have even started a podcast. That's 100% true, and I've told her that many times. She is the one who inspired me to do this, and she's so sweet, and I feel like I get to talk to her every couple of weeks when she uploads a podcast, and I just can't wait to meet her and potentially a few other people who are coming. I'll let them talk about it on their podcast if they would like to share that news, but I am definitely going, and I can't wait for 2 months. The next 2 months are going to be absolutely crazy for me. Starting tomorrow, which is why I'm recording a day early. So tomorrow I am leaving on a trip to Alabama, which I will be gone for a week, and then we've got some company coming in, and then I think it quiets down until the end of June, and then in July I've got a work trip for a few days, and then potentially some more company coming in to visit us. and then another work trip at the end of July. And then of course we're going to Vegas in August. So it's been a little crazy around here, and it's going to only get crazier. My husband's been gone all week for work as well. He comes back tonight. And then I leave tomorrow. So we get to say hi and bye. So that's a very exciting announcement, is that if maybe you're in the Vegas area, we are trying to arrange a crochet night at Sin City Knits. So if you haven't checked out Claudia's podcast, she'll have more details on that potentially. She was waiting for them to get back to her. And once I know more details, I will let you guys know as well. But potentially we could do a meetup. Also, what do you think about this? And if you're interested in what I'm about to say, I need you to leave a comment down below so that I could get like an accurate amount of people who could potentially come to this. So I live in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is in the Tampa area. So it's kind of in the middle of the state on the West Coast. If you live in the area like Tampa, Sarasota, Bradenton, Newport Richey, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, something like that, would you be interested in potentially doing a meetup here? I could maybe arrange on like a Saturday morning. We could meet at, I don't know, maybe a Panera Bread or some kind of a coffee place in St. Pete, kind of get to know each other, and then maybe take a trip over to Stash, which is my local yarn store. Depending on how many people there are, she has some couches and stuff that you can always go in and sit and knit on, or crochet on. So I don't know, I've been thinking maybe, I know there's a few people who live in my area, and I kind of would love to connect with you in real life. So if you live in the area where I live, maybe within like 45 minutes drive or somewhere, and you would be interested in coming to a meetup, leave me a comment down below and tell me, and give me like your Instagram name or your Instagram name if you have Instagram, or you can maybe shoot me an email, and that way I'll have your contact information so that when I actually plan the meetup, I can make sure you get all the details. I think that would be super, super fun. So that potentially is coming up. If you would like to follow what I'm doing on social media, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet pretty much everywhere except for Ravelry, because they have a character limit. So on Ravelry, my username is just the Cozy Cottage. On Facebook and Instagram, it's the Cozy Cottage Crochet. And if you have anything related to the podcast, please shoot me an email. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Sometimes I don't see messages on Instagram or Ravelry until like way late. And also, somebody, like a really lovely viewer, sent me the nicest message on Ravelry, and I had opened it and I was reading it, and I don't remember your name. This was a couple weeks ago, and I meant to X out of the message because I was in my car and I was going to respond to it later, but I accidentally deleted it out of my Ravelry inbox, and there's no way to recover it. Like, I have Googled, there is no trash folder in Ravelry. So whoever you are, I'm so sorry. If I didn't respond to your message, it was probably you because I deleted it by accident. So I'm really sorry. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't find a way to access your message, and because I don't have your name, I don't know how to find you. So please shoot me an email. That's the best way to get a hold of me. That will ensure that I see your correspondence. Okay. Are you guys ready to talk about some craftiness? Because I have lots of different things to show you. I actually do not have any finished objects this week, but I have been working almost exclusively on 2 projects with 2 other little bits thrown in. So I'm going to show you the 2 small projects first, or the 2 projects I've made the least project first, and then I'll show you the 2, obviously, sweaters and cardigans that I've been working on. They're not so fast, which is why I have not been able to complete anything this week. So the first thing I want to show you is, of course, my ultimate crochet project, which is the crimson hooded cardigan that I have been showing you and talking about for the last few weeks. This is the pattern. Oh, hopefully you can see that without the glare. It is by Sheba Guys on Instagram, and in the magazine it says it's by Shannon Mullet Bowlesby, who is one of the Sheba Guys. There's 2 that make them up. I got this pattern out of Interweave Crochet Magazine, winter 2018, but you can buy this pattern on Ravelry. And I am using the yarn that is called for in the pattern, which is Valley Yarns Haydenville, in the colorway red, and I have 18 balls of this, which is part of the reason it's an ultimate crochet project for me, because it was kind of expensive to get all that yarn. So I've saved up for it for quite a while. So last time I had just started the cables, and I have made a little bit of progress. So this is the stitch marker of where I was last time. I've probably only done about 8 or 10 rows, but I have gotten further in the stitch, in the cabling pattern. So there's 2 cables on the back. There's a big one and then a smaller one, and I've done all of this on the big one. So the cabling pattern is between these 2 stitch markers, and then this of course is all single crochet. So depending on what size you make, you'll have a different amount of stitches out here, but this cable pattern always stays the same number of stitches, which is really helpful because I was off by 1 stitch somehow. I must have missed something on one of the cables, but I just added a stitch and I cannot even find where I did that. This stitch marker is like a yarn skein. It's kind of blowing out a little bit. Melody of the Melody Crochet Podcast gave that to me, and I'm using it as my project keeper on this pattern. So right now, I have used 2 complete balls of yarn for this panel. Let's see, this is my end. And my little ladybug. It's red, so I thought it matched perfectly. So I enjoyed, oh man, I just love working on this. Like, I am only working on this when I am feeling happy and full of positive energy, because this is just like, I've wanted to make this for months, and I saved up the money to buy the yarn, and it's just amazing, and I love it. And I worked on this for probably 2 times. I've worked on this in the last 2 weeks, and I just have not had a lot of time to think. And you really have to pay attention for the cabling pattern. It's not one that I can memorize because it changes every row. I will say something that I really like about this cable is it's almost like, if you knit, you'll know what this means. If you do like lace work on one side, you purl across the other side, and you usually don't do lace work on the purl side. Well, this pattern, you do the cabling only on 1 row. So I do the cabling this way, and then this up. When you come back the other direction, you just do single crochet all the way across, which kind of creates a really nice break for your brain. So I really enjoy that part of the pattern as well. I don't have any complaints so far. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Even though I haven't done a ton of progress on it in the last 2 weeks, but a little bit. 2 full balls of yarn, I think that that's some progress. Next, I started a new project. I know, a new project, what? So it is living in this project bag with a slightly crooked zipper. It's one of the first project bags I ever made, and the fabric was given to me by Charlie of the Love Charlie podcast. And what I am making is a Treasure Island shawl. Oh my gosh, guys, I forgot to tell you what I was wearing. So, I am wearing my Treasure Island shawl because it's so hot outside. It is 85 degrees. It is super humid. I was at the gym this morning doing some work, and oh my word, so steamy in there. So I wanted to wear crochet, but honestly, this is one of the only pieces of crochet that I can wear when it's this hot outside because it's so lacy. It allows a lot of airflow, and as you can see, it's not tight around my neck. I'm not using this to try to keep me warm. So this is my Treasure Island shawl. It's my first pattern I've ever released. My second pattern, which is the Key Largo lace wrap, is currently with testers. And one person has finished already, and she did it in this like gradient whirl cake, and oh, it's so pretty. So my testers have another little while, and then I'll send it off for tech editing. That pattern should be out at the end of June, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. Anyways, the yarn that I am using is Lion Brand Heartland in this beautiful green. This is the leftover yarn that I had from my Habitat cardigan, which I was wearing on the last podcast. So if you don't know what that is, you can just take a peek at the last podcast, and that's the cardigan I was wearing. It's a free pattern by Make and Do Crew, and this is green, obviously, and my mom's favorite color is green, and so I'm making her a shawl. because she's so crochet worthy. So she asked me to make her this because it's my pattern. So she wanted something made by me and designed by me, which is so sweet. I have not got very far. I started it just a couple of nights ago, but I have made it through the first lace section. And now I'm about halfway through the next solid repeat. So this pattern, so I'm going out of town tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We are leaving to drive to Alabama. There is a group of people going to Utah, Alabama. There is a place called Utah, Alabama, although it's spelled differently. It's spelled E-U-T-A-W. For those of you who don't know, I'm a pastor at a church. I'm on staff as a pastor, and so our church has gone to Utah, Alabama for the last several years, gone back every summer. There's an organization that already works there that does summer camps and vacation Bible school and stuff for the kids in the area. And it's really kind of an economically depressed area. It's still pretty largely segregated, which is kind of amazing considering that it's 2018, but that's just kind of the culture of the area. And so this organization that works there, and the person, Jerome, that we've worked with specifically, he has been making some inroads and trying to, get some reconciliation and people to come together and kind of enhance the community. So we're going to be gone all next week and basically just run some free activities for kids. We've got an elementary school and a middle school. So elementary school's in the morning, middle school's in the afternoon, and then there's like a basketball tournament that's going on at night. So we're partnering with the actual community itself, with one of their community centers. So they have requested that we come back and keep doing this. And it's just such a pleasure to be able to go and kind of get out of your own box, because I live in St. Pete, Florida. It's a decent area. It's nice. We live by the beach. I like to travel, but just to be able to go and kind of experience someone else's life and not in a way to parachute in and be like, we can fix everything, because we can't. But just to go love on some people and maybe love on some kids and give them some crafts and tell them, be a positive influence for that week in their life. I think it's wonderful. And then because we're working with this organization, there is a program that they can then funnel into. So we're not just going in and then leaving a couple days later and then they don't have anywhere to go or nothing to do. So there's an organization that they can go in. So that's kind of where I'm going to be all next week, which is why I'm recording this podcast a day early. So I need some easy projects to take on this trip, because we have a 9-hour car ride to get up there, and then the same amount of distance to come back next Friday. And then I will probably have some crochet time at night, but I'm one of the leaders of the team. So I'm not going to have very much brain power or time to be able to dedicate to crochet, I don't think. But this is such a simple pattern. It's super mindless. I can just work on this. I'll be able to work on this in the car, even if someone's talking to me. So I wanted to get it started so that I could take it with me tomorrow. So this is a project I'm taking. I will probably be taking a pair of socks to knit on, because I can just go around and around and around and not have to think about it. And then I have one more project to show you in a little bit that I'll be taking as well. So this a little bit is done, but hopefully I will have some significant progress on this maybe next time. I'm hoping is it too much to say that it'll be done? I don't know. I really do not know how much crochet time I'm going to have. Probably not that much. And we all do this as crafters, right? We're like, oh, we're going away. I'm going to take 7 projects. And then you work on half a project. So the likelihood that I'm going to come home with a significant amount done is pretty small, but I'm going to try. So those are the 2 crochet projects that I've gotten a little bit done on. Let's move on to the cardigans. So first, living in this giant yellow bag, which I got from Knit It, Hook It, Craft It, Faye's wonderful website. You need to go on her website and check it out. I am making this out of jeans yarn. It's the Lion brand in the colorway jumpsuit. I don't know about this project, you guys. I think I need some opinions. So I have actually I've made a huge amount of progress on this. I've completed the entire body. So this is the cardigan. I did the whole body. I've done this ribbing, so you do 3.5 inches of ribbing, which, oh my word, that took forever. And then the pattern tells you to make the sleeves, but I went ahead and did the actual little border as well around the inside. And there are buttonholes, so like right here. There's a buttonhole, and then there's buttonholes all the way down. The thing about this is, and let me try it on for you, I'm not sure I love it. I'm not sure I love the fit. And I was a little unsure about it last time, and I don't want to frog it, but I also am not entirely happy with the way that it looks. And maybe it's because of it's top-down raglan, I don't know. But if you have experience with this type of thing, maybe you can help me out. So I made the size in between the medium and the large. And let me just stand up so you can see. It goes down. I mean, it fits pretty well right here. And this is the ribbing. But what I'm having a problem with is this. Like this is a lot of bulk for this. And I made the size, like I feel like if I had gone down to a medium, it would be too tight everywhere else. But this is just, to me, this looks like it's just the raglan construction that's causing this. But I don't love it. I don't mind the color. I actually think that the color looks pretty good with my skin tone. Like bright colors generally look better on me than pastels. Pastels make me look like a ghost, which, I mean, let's be real, I kind of am. Super pale. So I just don't know. And I have not washed or blocked this. And I mean, my swatch, when I stuck it through the washer and the dryer, it did soften up quite a bit. So this is a little stiff. So this may drape a lot better once it's gone through the washer and the dryer. But I just don't know if it's something I'm gonna actually wear. I do need to block it just a little bit. Let me stand up. So it's right where, this is my hip. So it's about the length that I need it to be, but I would just prefer if it was like 1.5 inches longer, potentially. I have a rather long torso, which frequently means that like normal shirts don't fit me. And I'm not really into like crop tops or like my midriff showing at all. It's just not really my style. So I would like to get, I'm sure I can absolutely get another 1.5 inches out of this because it's first of all, it's acrylic and it hasn't been blocked at all. So I just don't know. I think I may actually weave all the ends in so far and put it through the washer and the dryer before I start the sleeves. What do you think of this plan? Because if I can tell what the finished garment is gonna feel like, then I'll really know if I would wear it. That doesn't mean, if I still don't love it, that I'm going to frog the whole thing. I just don't know. It's not, I've really liked working on this project, but I just don't love how it's coming up currently. Blocking covers a multitude of sins, however. So I am fully aware of that, and I think my plan is I'm gonna weave in all the ends and just put it through the washer and the dryer. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to frog it. This is like this is 5.5 balls of yarn. I don't want to frog all that in this ribbing. I really like the ribbing. It's kind of unique because normally in ribbing and crochet you do front post, back post, double crochets, but this actually only does the ribbing on one side. So this is the back of the ribbing, which is cool. I like it. So, I mean, I like the pattern. It is the Envision cardigan? No, that can't be right. Oh yes, Envision cardigan by Heidi May. It's a pattern on Ravelry that you can purchase, and I purchased mine. I just don't know. I've spent so many hours on this. It worked out fairly quickly because it's a worsted weight yarn, but I'm just not in love with it. And I don't want to do this. I don't want to be on Sleeve Island and then like really hate how it turns out. So I think I'm gonna need to wash it before I go any further to decide if I like it. But in more promising news, I have been working on my blurred line sweater, which is a pattern by Addie Day Designs, and I am loving, loving, loving how it works up. I am using Loops and Threads wool-like yarn in blue and gray. This is 85% acrylic and 15% nylon. Are you ready for this? I've made some major progress on this too. I split for the sleeves. So I think the last time I showed, I was still working on the yoke and I had to do some striping, and I needed to do another section of short rows before going around and around and then splitting for the sleeves. So I have done all of that. This is the back. This is the front, and you can see that the short row shaping that she has you do really makes it look like a sweater because the neckline in the back is raised. So what I am doing, and you need to check your gauge on this. Now I got gauge for stitches. I was a little off for my row gauge. One of the things that I appreciate most about this pattern is that she has measurements everywhere. Like in every single section, you know exactly how long your garment is supposed to be at any certain point. So I was measuring obsessively, and right here, I omitted like 2 rounds, because I had already reached my measurement and I didn't need to add any more. And then down here, maybe I should have only omitted 1 row, but I added an extra round after the stripes so that I could reach the measurement that I needed. And she tells you exactly how to do that. And then I split for the sleeves, and I've just been going round and round. I need to get to, I think for my size, 4 inches from here to here, and I'm at about 3 1/4. And then there's some waist shaping, and then you keep going. So let me put it on because it fits so well. Like, oh my gosh. Let me just tell you, making a fingering weight sweater is no joke. I have never made one before. Oh, it takes so long. But look what you get. Look what you get for making a fingering weight sweater. Excuse all the ends. Like, this fits so well. This neckline is perfect. And I made the medium size based on her measurements, which I was a little iffy on because normally mediums are they can be a little tight on me. But then I make the large and it's too big. It's just too big, and I don't wear it and I don't like it, and it's a problem. So I don't want to spend all this time making something that wasn't fit. So I trusted the pattern, which you should do because Deanna's an amazing designer, and it fits perfectly through the underarm. Like, it's not too tight, it's not too loose, there's no extra bulk here. The way it lays is perfect. And then the back of it, I think I'm all rolled up. Let me turn sideways. The back of it is also perfect. So as you can see, I have quite a ways to go. So I'm right like at the bottom of my bust, so I have to go all the way down here, and I'm gonna need to add some rows, I'm pretty sure, because I, again, have a long torso, but that's not a problem. So, oh man, if you are looking for a sweater pattern, this pattern you need in your life. It's fantastic, and it fits so well. Mess all my hair up. So I've been spending quite a bit of time working on this, and I just have nothing but positive things to say about this sweater pattern. So Deanne, thank you so much. And I'm making this out of Loops and Threads wool-like because that stuff is cheap. So the yarn for this sweater is gonna be like $12. But I already want to make another one out of some fancier yarn, or maybe even some purple wool-like. Ooh, that would be nice. So I can't recommend this pattern enough. I don't know how much I'm gonna have done on this next time because I'm not taking this sweater with me on my trip. I think it would be a little complicated to try to keep track of that sweater. I don't wanna have to count things, and I certainly don't wanna have to frog when I make mistakes, because I probably will make mistakes because I will be very, very busy. So I probably won't work on that until like a week from now, but oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Like I don't want to pick up anything else. I do have some other stuff to talk about though. That's it for crochet. I have a little bit of knitting. Obviously it's a sock. That's the only thing I knit. And I have some sewing to talk about. So let's talk about socks first. I have been working on my third pair of socks, and I am using Knit Picks Felice yarn in the colorway Hopscotch, which is a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. I had only one 50-gram ball of this, so I decided to make some shorty ankle socks. And I have finished one. This is where I was last time. So I did all of the increases, the heel turn. I did basically one round after the heel, and then I did a 3x1 rib. And then I bound off with a crochet hook. And I think this is the best bind off I've had yet. Like that looks pretty good. That's way better than the other ones. So I really like this sock. It took 24 grams, and I kept weighing and weighing to make sure, because I want to make sure I have enough for a second sock, because I only had 50 grams. I'm not 100% about the fit. This is a little loose. I think, and I have to make the second one the same way, of course, because I want them to match, but I think I need to decrease if I'm going to make ankle socks from toe up, because if this were going higher, if this were coming up here, it wouldn't be a problem. But this is a little bit loose on my ankle. And I'm concerned that it's actually not gonna stay up very well if I were to wear this with shoes. Now, I don't know for sure because I've only tried it on my foot. I haven't tried it on with shoes. I haven't washed it or anything like that. But the cuff is a little loose. Maybe I could fix that by doing a 1x1 rib, but I still think I probably need to decrease and go down at least 4 to 6 stitches maybe. The other thing is that I should have done like contrast heels and toes or something, which I have never done and I don't know how to do. I'm sure it's easy, but like I was just going until I finished the sock. I only have 26 grams left. So what that means is I finished it this yellow, which means I would have to go through all of this if I wanted to start back here, which is quite a few grams of yarn, which would mean I did not have enough to finish the second sock. So they're not going to match. Which bothers me. It really does. I really, really like symmetry. Now, they still clearly go together. Like they're clearly from the same yarn and that they clearly go together. But this one has like a grayish green toe. I don't love that. And if I would have thought about it ahead of time, maybe I could have wound the balls in such a way that they like split the ball of yarn, because this is how much I have left, in such a way that they would have matched, or maybe done a contrast color. Although I don't really own any yarn that would have made a contrast color for this. So I don't know. I just got to the point where I started to do increases for the heel on this second sock. This will be coming with me on the trip. Although I don't even know, am I gonna have enough brain power to do a heel? I'm gonna say yes, but in reality, I don't know, probably not. So, I don't know. They're gonna get finished. I have loved working with this yarn. It's so soft. It's a dream to work with. I love the stripes. But I don't love that they're not going to match. And I don't love how the cuff fits. Something interesting I wanted to show you, because I know most of you are crocheters, you're not knitters. So when we talk about knitting, like in knitting there's only 2 stitches, right? There's a knit stitch and a purl stitch, and then there's various yarn overs, but pretty much you can only knit and purl. So if you look here, these are knit stitches. Purling seems to confuse a lot of people, but really what you're doing is creating a backwards knit stitch. So let me show you what it looks like on the inside of the cuff, because there's 3 knit stitches here and then 1 purl, and I'm just going around and around. This is what the purl looks like. So it's a knit stitch on the wrong side. So if you're working flat and you get to one end, you knit all the way across, and you turn around and you purl back, what you're doing is adding a row of knitting on the purl side, or knitting on the side that you just worked across. So it's not so much that it's a different stitch, it's a different way of doing the same stitch. So I just thought that was really interesting, and it was really easy to see. Like, this is the knit stitches right here. But they're not knit, they're purl, because you're doing it on the wrong side. So I thought that was interesting and an easy way to show what I was talking about, since I had some ribbing. I'm gonna take some yarn with me because I do actually have some some more Knit Picks Felici in this colorway, which they, I believe, discontinued last year. This is called Sonora Sunset, and I actually have 100 grams of this, so I could make them match. So I think I'm gonna take this with me. I don't really know if I'm gonna do another sock while I'm there, but I just would like to have options, because not having options stresses me out. I don't wanna be stressed. So that's it for knitting. Just a little bit of sock corner. I have been sewing. The foot for my sewing machine came in the mail, and it definitely was the foot. So it's working like an absolute dream now. I love the sewing machine. It's so nice. Even though I have only still done one stitch, but I have sewed a few things. So last Friday, I think it was. Oh, yes. Let's go on a tangent for a second. It definitely was last Friday, because our refrigerator died. When we moved into this house, it had a like side-by-side refrigerator freezer in it, which was fairly large. It came with the house, and we didn't know how old it was, but I mean, it worked, so it was fine. Some of the parts inside were missing, like there were some shelves missing in the freezer, and some of the stuff in the fridge didn't work properly, but it was working and it was part of the house, so we weren't gonna replace it, because why replace it if it's still working? Well, it stopped working. So the freezer stopped first, and we kind of lost all of that food. Luckily, there wasn't a ton of food in the freezer. It was mostly just like frozen vegetables and a couple other things. So it was maybe like 50, 60 bucks of food in the freezer that we weren't able to save. And I pulled the fridge out, and I like vacuumed out the coils. I thought maybe the coils were not working. So we had someone come out and look at it, and he was like, well, it's not something easy. It's actually the computer in the refrigerator that is dying, because the freezer had stopped working, but the fridge was still working. And he was like, it could be tomorrow that it dies. It could be 6 months from now. But to replace the computer in this fridge is going to cost $600. And this fridge is from 2001. Well, it's 2018, so I feel like that's a pretty good life for a fridge, like 17 years. So we had to go buy one. So and then that night, the fridge part died. So luckily, we were monitoring it and watching it, so we pulled our coolers out and filled them with ice and put all the food in, because we couldn't get another fridge until Saturday. So this is what we got. Let me just turn the camera. Shiny. And the fridge part is on the top and the freezer is on the bottom, which I have always kind of wanted a freezer to be on the bottom. I don't like the side-by-side so much because I feel like it's hard to navigate. So we went to Sears Outlet and we got I think it's a Whirlpool appliance, but it was 50% off of retail price because it has a dent in the side. There's nothing wrong with the fridge. It just has a dent in the side, and like the logo part is missing off of the top, and it has a couple little scratches on the handles. Yes, please, 50% off. That's a totally unexpected expense to have to buy a new fridge, but it's really nice. Like, I keep coming in the kitchen and looking at it and being like, wow, it's my first fridge purchase as an adult. So that's the story of like last Friday. So while we were trying to get that resolved, I was sewing, and I made a project bag. Oh, it's so pretty. I can't believe I made this. This is fabric that I got while I was on Stitchcation in Titusville. This is fabric from Hobby Lobby. I got a half a yard of each of this gray and of the, it's like a mint green with little gold swans. So I cut all the material out, and once the sewing machine foot came, I put it together. There was some ripping because I accidentally sewed a seam together that I shouldn't have, and then there was some thinking about the boxed bottom, because boxed bottoms I've only done so far where you make the triangle and you sew across it and then you cut it off. But on this one, I wanted to do the bottom that had the square cut out, but I actually didn't cut out a square, I cut out a rectangle and it wasn't lining up properly and I couldn't figure out why. So I had to like let it go for a little bit and then think about it, and then finally I figured out what I did wrong. So I had to make, the bottom is actually a little more boxed than I wanted it to be because I had to cut the rectangle into an actual square. So I had to cut more material out. This gray was supposed to come up a little higher, but I mean, who cares? Look at this beautiful box bottom. So, and I wanted the gray on the bottom on the outside because I didn't want this because I figured that would get dirty if I set it down. This whole thing is interfaced. So I think interfacing, this may actually be a problem if I were to make more bags like this, because I got medium interfacing, like the fusible kind that you just iron on. And I think it's too thick for this bag. Like this is super sturdy to the point where it's gonna, you see that? It's gonna wrinkle because the interfacing is not flexible enough, which I don't care. This bag is for me. I am in love with it. But just for the future, it's something for me to think about, to maybe get a little bit more lightweight interfacing that could stand up to some crumpling. Because of course this is a drawstring bag, so it's going to be crumpled. Well, this is the outside. The inside is the exact opposite. So it's got the gray arrow fabric, and then on the bottom, it has the mint green and a few swans, which I did that on purpose because it adds a little bit of light to the bag because it's kind of dark. So if there's a notion or something I'm looking for down at the bottom, I'll be able to easily see it because the bottom isn't gray. The drawstring casing is of course that, and then that's the drawstring. So this is a mint green ribbon that Melody from the Melody Crochet podcast sent me in the Magic Yarn Ball. And when I got this fabric, I knew I was going to use this ribbon to be the drawstring. So this took literally all day. Sewing is hard work, you guys. Hard work. But I am so proud of this. Look at my seams. And before you go, oh wow, your seams are so good, I used a chalk pencil to draw a line with a ruler so that I could follow it, because I am not so great at sewing in a straight line. And also I used a chalk pencil here to sew this line, which is still like slightly wobbly, but it's okay. This is probably like the nicest thing I've made. Certainly the nicest thing I've made by myself. The tote bag, of course, I had a lot of help with, but this I did all by myself. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm gonna put a project in it now that I've shown it to you. But wait, there's more! I also sewed, I had just enough material to make 2 of these little notions pouches. I actually only sewed 1 because I got 2 zippers from Joann's and I broke one to the point where I couldn't fix it, so I could only make 1. This is a practice one. This one is for me, and for one thing, it's for me because you see this right here? That is me burning a hole in the fabric with the iron. When I was putting the interfacing on, I left the iron on for too long and it started burning, like melting the fabric off. So this little white strip, that's the interfacing that you're seeing. That's not the fabric. So it's gray on the outside. This is like a little pouch for my purse because I've been using that tote bag as my purse and it does not have any zipper pockets. And I have some things that I just would prefer to be in a zipper, like to be contained. Some girl items and like some medication and stuff like that. So on the inside, it's the same swan fabric. You can see I have a bunch of stuff in there. I really, really love it. I didn't quite do the zipper correctly. Now it lines up perfectly and it unzips and zips very well. However, I didn't leave enough room for the zipper tabs, and so you see the corner, how the corners go in? I can't fix that because the zipper tabs are sewn in there. I can't square off the top. So that was kind of like a little lesson learned as well. I have enough fabric to make one more of these. I just need to get a zipper. I wanted to make a second one so that I could have it as a prize for the Love Yourself Cal. You can get a little handmade pouch. And I think the medium weight interfacing is perfect for this pouch because it's super sturdy and goes in my purse and just stands straight up. It's perfect. So if I can get my hands on another zipper by the time the cal ends and hopefully fix this on the second one, then someone will win a little notions pouch made by me. And then finally, I sewed a bag as a prize for the Love Yourself Cal. Now I had the fabric cut out for this quite a while ago, but I never sewed it up because I just didn't want to fight with the old sewing machine. It doesn't have a drawstring in it yet. I haven't put it in. So it's got this awesome green fabric on the outside. It's, I would say, it's bigger than a sock bag. It's probably a 2-skein project bag for like a shawl. It's boxed on the bottom. You can't, oh, there it is. This is sparkly fabric. So you can kind of see that. The green is super sparkly. And on the inside, this bag is completely reversible. There are no seams that you can see except the one around the top. It's pink. And this is the pink fabric. I just thought they went together so well, and it has the drawstring casing. I'm gonna put a ribbon in there. I just have not yet. So some lucky person is going to win this bag made by me as part of the prize for the Love Yourself Cal. And you can totally, I mean, it doesn't quite stand up because it doesn't have any interfacing in it, but if you rolled it over and it had something in it, I think it would stand up perfectly as like a little yarn bowl. So that's all the sewing. I feel like that's a lot for 2 weeks. I've been crazy busy the last couple of weeks, and I haven't had a ton of crafting time, and the crafting time that I have had, I've spent pretty much on those 2 sweaters. So also, I have been playing video games. And by video games, I mean Skyrim specifically, because, I mean, I'm obsessed, of course. I have a tattoo on my leg of the dragon of Skyrim. That's how much I love that game. So on Sunday night, last Sunday, I came home from work, and we did some stuff around the house, and then for like 4 hours straight, I played Skyrim. And then on Monday night, I got home from work, and I played until I went to bed. And Tuesday night, I only played for like an hour or 2. And then I haven't played since then because I've been so busy. But that did cut into my crochet time. But it was totally worth it because it made me really happy. In fact, while this video is not editing, obviously I have to do that part, but like processing and uploading, I think I'm gonna play some video games. Although I do need to do laundry and pack for this trip that I'm going on in just a few hours tomorrow. There is one happy yarn mail that came in, which I'm really excited to show you because this is also part of the prize for the Love Yourself Cal. There is a viewer of this podcast named Lynn who has an Etsy store called Stitching Fairy Crafts, which I will put down a link to her store down below. She contacted me and asked if she could send some stitch markers as a giveaway, and she sent me the most beautiful set of stitch markers. So this is her little card, Stitching Fairy Crafts, and I'll put the link down below. She has a blog as well called happinessiscrossstitching.blogspot.com because she does a lot of cross-stitch stuff as well. But look, I don't know if you can tell because there's kind of a glare, but that's a heart and a chocolate bar stitch marker. There is this super cute little heart with a bow. This one is a wine bottle. And then there's like a dress and a handbag. And then there is a coffee cup with a heart. I'm sorry if that's not focusing very well. So she sent all of these over to be prizes. And so I don't know, she said I could keep one. I don't know which one. Like I keep looking at them and being like, they're so pretty. Maybe the wine one. We'll see. I also really, really like the handbag right here. So she sent all of these. So as part of the Love Yourself-cal prizes, this is gonna be part of that. So it'll be at least a few sets of people that will be able to get these beautiful, beautiful handmade stitch markers. So go check out her Etsy store. It's Stitching Fairy Crafts, and you should definitely support her because she's fabulous. I don't think she's sending me these just for like recognition. She's been a longtime viewer of this podcast and she's super sweet. So the other project I want to talk about is I am taking some yarn for socks. I'm taking the Treasure Island shawl on this trip, but I am also taking a kind of cardigan sweater pattern, which I've had the yarn set aside for a couple, like a month now, but I just haven't started it because I have like 6 cardigans started and that's an awful lot. So what I am going to make is the Rabbit Hole cardigan, which is a pattern by Carmen Jorison. It's a free pattern. So if you just Google Rabbit Hole cardigan, her blog will pop up, and this is a cardigan. So it's kind of a granny stitch cardigan, and it's got a pretty unique construction. And I'm going to be making it out of this Stylecraft DK yarn pack that a wonderful person who watches this podcast and has for quite some time, named Andrea, sent me. Andrea, thank you so much. So she sent me this yarn. She bought it for something and then didn't love how the colors were coming out, so she said maybe I could make a sweater out of it, and I totally can. So it's got this like dark burgundy kind of purple 4 balls and then 1 of each of these colors. So I think it's gonna create a super good striping effect. And because it's granny stitch, like I could do that in my sleep. I'm pretty sure I can do granny stitch pretty much without even looking at it because you can feel where the hook needs to go. So I'm gonna take that with me. I'm gonna try to actually chain and get the first row done tonight so that I don't have to think about counting, because that's the worst part when someone's talking to you and you're in a car full of people, right? You can't count. You're bound to make a mistake. So I'm gonna try to get that first row done. I don't know. I've got so much to do before we leave. I've got to do laundry. I have to pack. I haven't packed a single thing. And this isn't like a vacation trip, so I have to think about like what other stuff to take. So I have to take like sunscreen and bug spray and sheets to sleep on and towels and all kinds of stuff. So I have a lot to do. My husband will be coming home tonight from his work trip, so I'll get to spend a little bit of time with him before I leave. And then I've got to kind of get the guest room ready because we've got company coming in. I'm coming back next Friday night, and we've got company coming the next day. We have to go pick them up from the airport. So it's about to get crazy, y'all. Crazy. Anyways, I know that I've been talking about 100 miles an hour, but that's okay. That's just part of today. I hope that, I was gonna say just now, I hope it doesn't rain because it's really cloudy outside, but actually I kind of hope it does, because once I start the laundry and this starts processing, maybe I'll take a nap. That would be wonderful. To just take a nap before anyone gets home. Oh, yes. Turn the air down, turn the fan on, super dark in there. Yes, I think I'm gonna take a nap. So I'm gonna sign off here. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you'd like to be kept up to date on future episodes. There will be another one in just 2 weeks. And like I said, if you live in the area and you are interested in having a meetup, please, please, please comment below and let me know. And also just comment below and tell me what you're working on. I love to know all of the projects that you're working on and things that you're accomplishing. It constantly keeps me adding things to my Ravelry list. Someone was working on this Rabbit Hole cardigan a while ago, and that's why I am making it now. So Until I see you again, happy crafting. I hope you have the best 2 weeks. Happy June. Keep working on your Love Yourself Cal projects, and I will see you in just a few weeks. Bye!